Welcome to English Lab. This presentation is about types of sentences. A sentence is a group of words that is used to communicate ideas. A sentence expresses a complete thought. There are 4 types of sentences in English: simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. Let's talk about simple sentences. A simple sentence consists of one independent clause. If you are not sure what the meaning of independent clause is, go back to English Lab and watch the presentation about clauses. Every sentence must contain at least a subject and a predicate. A subject is the word or the group of words that does something or is something. A predicate is the word or group of words that is used to express action, for example, hit or run, or a state of being, for example, is, will be, am. The predicate always includes a verb. A sentence must have a verb. For example, many international students experience culture shock. The subject is many international students. The predicate is experience culture shock. So our subject, many international students, that's the group of words that does something or is something. And our predicate, experience culture shock, this is used to express the state of being. Many international students experience culture shock is an independent clause. Other word groups can now be added to the sentence, all supporting the meaning of the independent clause by adding more meanings. These word groups are called dependent clauses. They cannot operate without an independent clause. They must be together. For example, when they come to Australia, this is a dependent clause. It needs another part. If we add our previous example, many international students experience culture shock when they come to Australia. Now it's a complete sentence and it makes sense. Support units usually begin with what's called a subordinator, such as when, although, if, since, and so forth. In this sentence example, when is our subordinator. It begins our support unit. When they come to Australia. Let's talk about compound sentences now. A compound sentence is one in which there are 2 or more independent clauses joined together. However, you cannot join independent clauses with just a comma. This is an error called a comma splice. Have a look at this example. I like Coke, I hate Pepsi. These 2 ideas are joined with a comma. I like Coke, comma, I hate Pepsi. This is a comma splice error. Please do not do this. I like Coke is an independent clause. I hate Pepsi is an independent clause as well, but these cannot be joined with a comma. There are 3 correct ways to join the clauses. You can use a coordinating conjunction. These are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. For example, I like Coke, comma, but I hate Pepsi. Now we have an independent clause with the coordinating conjunction but and another independent clause. This is correct. We can also join them with a conjunctive adverb. These are words like besides, furthermore, however, and therefore. For example, I like Coke, however, I hate Pepsi. Now we have an independent clause with the conjunctive adverb however and another independent clause. Pay attention to the punctuation as well. Before the word however, we have a semicolon. After, we have a comma. We can also join the clauses with just a semicolon. Example, I like Coke, semicolon, I hate Pepsi. These are two independent clauses joined with just a semicolon. So it's okay to do that, but it's not okay to use a comma. This kind of compound sentence can only be formed when the two independent clauses are closely related in meaning. Let's talk about complex sentences. In complex sentences, the independent clause has a dependent clause added to it. For example, although it was raining lightly, we went to the beach. Although it was raining lightly is a dependent clause. We went to the beach is an independent clause. When these two clauses are joined together, they make a complex sentence. Here's another example. Considering my poor results in the exam, I have decided to withdraw from the course. Considering my poor results in the exam is a dependent clause. I have decided to withdraw from the course is an independent clause. If we join these two together, we have a complex sentence. Dependent clauses may be placed at the beginning, middle, or end of an independent clause. Here's an example with it at the beginning. Whenever he tried to ask her out, she pretended she was too busy to go. This is an example of the dependent clause being at the beginning. The new lecturer, who is a highly respected scholar, began his classes today. In this case, the dependent clause, who is a highly respected scholar, is in the middle. Last holidays, we went to Margaret River, which is a small town located south of Perth. In this case, the dependent clause, which is a small town located south of Perth, is at the end of the sentence. Let's talk about punctuation. As a general rule, keep an independent clause and a dependent clause apart by using a comma or pair of commas, just like you can see in these three examples. If a dependent clause is placed at the end of a sentence, it may not be necessary to use a comma. Lastly, let's talk about compound complex sentences. A compound complex sentence is made from two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. For example, although I like to go skiing, I haven't had the time to go lately, and I haven't found anyone to go with. In this case, we have the independent clause, I haven't had the time to go lately. I haven't found anyone to go with. This is another independent clause. Although I like to go skiing is a dependent clause. So we have two independent clauses and a dependent clause. This makes a compound complex sentence. This is how you can structure longer sentences correctly in your writing. This is the end of our sentence types presentation. Please return to English Lab for more presentations.